All right, Casey. All right, Casey, we are live. The Meltdown Show is back. Bye-week edition. First week of November, which could only mean one thing. The college football rankings are now out. And that's just one thing on the agenda. We got a lot to talk about. Even though A&M didn't even play this week, we got a lot to talk about.
So many great things happened, even without Aiden playing.
In a very short period of time, a lot has transpired. So I hope folks out there tune in. I hope they enjoy this one, and we'll get it started here. Look, while I get the link to the show over to you, I need you to tell me your initial thoughts on the college football playoff rankings. All right, so let me have it.
Well, number one, I like the top four. I'll just say that I only really had strong feelings about 1, 2, and 3. I think they got that right. I like Alabama at number 2, even though the guys on the ESPN set seemed taken aback by it. I didn't really have strong feelings in the debate of Oregon over Ohio State. I know that seems kind of crazy because of the head to head, but I do think Oregon has kind of a bad loss on their schedule, and I think Ohio State is playing better football right now. I think, you know, like a lot of teams, they started out as a flawed team to start the season. There's still a lot of flawed teams out there, you know, just like A&M's starting to get it together, just like Alabama is maybe starting to get it together. Um, you know, I don't think they're the same team that lost to Oregon anyway. But I didn't really care either way. Um, I am most glad to see Cincinnati not in the top four. Everyone is saying they're disrespected at number 6, and frankly, I'm mad that they're as high as number 6. Uh, I was glad to see Oklahoma as low as number 8. I was afraid they were going to get too much respect for being undefeated, but not a very convincing undefeated, right? I'm glad to see that
Right.
that still matters. So, I think the college football nerds actually summed it up pretty well. What these rankings are really saying is that the the SEC champ is going to be number 1. The Big Ten champ is going to be number 2, and likely your Pac-12 champ will be number 3, and then number 4 is going to come from Oklahoma, Cincy, potentially an SEC championship game loser, and maybe even a Big Ten championship game loser. I'm not sure, but that's kind of up in the air. I think you can kind of see where they're going with this and how it's going to end up at the end of the year. But there's a lot of football to be played. I think there's a lot of potential chaos in our future set up by these rankings. So overall, I think they did one of the better jobs they've done in quite a long time. I actually the Auburn over or just one slot ahead of Texas A&M is still a little bit strange to me. Um, but I think A&M's in a weird spot, and I don't want to spend too much time on us in these rankings just because we're so far out of it. And the scenarios would be crazy for us to even crack into like the top 6 or anything like that. But A&M's strange in that I think they've got like the best win of like a top 15 team, but
Right.
also maybe the worst loss of the teams in the top 15.
Yeah.
So, and I think nobody really knows what to do with that. And that's
No,
why
I
you
think that's right.
see us right
Yeah.
there behind Auburn.
Well, and the committee, by placing those two teams where they did, 13 and 14, the two highest rated 6-2 teams, by the way,
Hmm.
highest rated 2-loss squads.
Yep.
They get a get out of jail free card there because the teams play this weekend, and we're going to get to that.
Right.
But I thought that the committee did do a really good job. I won't rehash everything you said. That would be terrible radio, even though we're not on the radio. Uh, but I thought they sent some very clear messages in the process that How you look when you're playing does matter.
Hmm.
We're not. They said, we're not messing around here. If you look like trash, but you've managed to skate by, we're not ranking you high.
Hmm.
If you've played a really weak schedule, we're not ranking you high. If you've played a complete cakewalk of a schedule, you're not going to get ranked at all. There was people actually angry that UTSA wasn't ranked,
Yeah, actually, yeah, that was
right?
a. I'm glad you brought that up because that was a major point for me. I was very happy to see them not in these
Yeah,
rankings because it's ridiculous. As much
yeah,
as I want to clown
it's
on, like, UT Austin, uh, I think they would beat the tar out of UTSA. So
yeah. So there's common sense here at
yeah,
play, and I like to see that. Head to head does matter. It mattered in several instances where that's the differentiator. Okay,
yes,
so
key
and it's
point.
a good key point because A&M and Mississippi State. Well, Mississippi State has the head-to-head win over the Aggies. All right, but they're 5-3,
Hmm.
and there's a
Hmm.
gap there in the rankings. They're ranked 17th in this poll, and that
And
just
we're their
makes
best win.
sense.
Well, actually, I
Yeah,
guess Kentucky's their best win. Nope,
A&M beat
A&M
Alabama,
is, yeah, right.
right? But Alabama is 7-1. It was a close game, so where it came down to. Well, I've got these two teams with similar resumes, and they played head-to-head. Well, then head-to-head mattered in this case. So Oregon getting the nod over Ohio State, even though I think everybody in college football does agree Ohio State is playing better right
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
But the way that this is set up and the way this is structured, there are a lot of teams that might be angry or upset with the rankings. But guess what? There's still a lot of football and their path is
Hmm.
clear. Okay. You and I
Yeah.
were ecstatic to see Oklahoma at 8 because we do not believe they are a very good football team. The polls, the voters have rewarded them for remaining undefeated based on their preseason ranking and being undefeated.
Yep.
Okay. They've fallen in love with that, where they started. They can't see past that, but the committee can. But the reality is for Oklahoma, they got Oklahoma State, Baylor, K State left, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They have Iowa State left, not Kansas State. I think that's right. So their toughest games are ahead of them.
Yes, that's right. Texas has Kansas
Okay,
State left. I was getting confused. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. That's the one that blows my mind because, you get as mad as you want, but calm the F down. Your schedule has been crap so far, and you haven't looked very good.
Yep.
But your schedule's
Don't look.
about to get a whole lot tougher, and you're about to be able to prove it. And frankly, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to finish the season undefeated and be in the playoff. But we'll see what
Whoa!
happens. Well,
Wow.
yeah,
We.
I mean, we'll see.
I
But
do not. I do
okay,
not.
we'll
I think.
see.
I think. I think Oklahoma's losing 2 games. I think they're going to lose twice. But hey,
Don't get me
what
wrong,
makes it
I'd
fun?
love it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we'll find
So
out.
yeah,
And guess what? Cincinnati, don't be too upset tonight. Okay, I guess by putting them 6th, the only thing that's going to get Cincinnati in the playoff, they have to go undefeated, and then
hmm,
some of these teams ahead um, are going to have to lose, and in some cases lose twice. Right? So um,
yeah,
you know, and it'll be how they lose as well.
right.
Right?
Yeah, that's
So
a weird one because of Michigan State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Two of those three teams has to lose at least one more, or again, um, if Michigan's the one that comes out of that unscathed, well, then that's a problem for them because they could leapfrog them. But yeah, I mean, I think this year sets up pretty well for Cincy. Personally, I think I think they're going to lose one and it won't matter. But it's just me.
yeah. Well, if so, A&M fans out there, you're wondering. Well, we're sitting at 14. Casey said there's really no shot. If A&M wins out, okay, look, that's the shot. That's the only shot. Okay, because that
And a
means
whole
they're
lot of chaos.
well, one piece of chaos in particular. And by winning out, I mean A&M has to win out. They need to be in the SEC title game. They need to
Hmm.
beat a Georgia in the SEC
Yep.
title game. And in that instance, they're in.
Yes.
Okay. Nobody can convince me otherwise that the SEC
No.
champion that beat Alabama and Georgia in the same season with two early stumbles,
Right.
they're getting in. So
Yeah.
if you want
I
to know your
agree.
path, that's the path, and it's the only path. So we won't spend too much time on that. In fact, no more time on that.
Okay.
But Casey, we have other things to talk about, right? And since it was the bye week, we're gonna look around college football. We're gonna find some interesting outcomes. Really, we're just gonna look at one. Okay, and that's what happened in Waco on Saturday. All right, Baylor gets the win, which I predicted. Thought they were gonna
Yes.
win. We thought they were
Yeah.
gonna win.
Very
Okay,
unremarkable win for Baylor.
and let me tell you this. This is when I knew they were gonna win. All right, is when Texas went up double digits in the third quarter.
Because
That's when
that's
I
the kiss
knew.
of death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because look, if you've watched Texas play this year, it was written all over the field because Baylor could run on them, and they were starting to run more and more and more. And as long as they didn't make the catastrophic mistake, they were gonna run all over Texas in the fourth quarter, and that's what they did, and they won. And it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
I'm sure it was. I don't have much to say about it because I was on vacation with the family this weekend. Didn't get to watch it. Did drive
That's right.
by McLean on the way down
You
on
drove by the toilet
Thursday.
bowl.
I drove by the toilet bowl and I could feel the energy. I was just
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah, the
good.
place is ready. And then
Awesome.
confirmed. But yeah, as soon you were texting me some during the game, as soon as you told me that they were, Baylor could run on them, I was like, well, yeah, the collapse is imminent. So good times.
So look, so we don't need to talk about the football game, but what we do need to talk about is the fallout because a lot of things happened um, in the last 72 hours since that game. And the first one I want to talk about is the media has turned on Steve Sarkisian in record time. In record
Record.
time, because make no mistake, for Charlie Strong, for Herman, media carried that water for a good season or two, pumped those
Yeah.
guys up, off-season hype, you name it. They need time.
Weighted recruiting rankings. All of it.
Yeah, boy, there just seems to be no tolerance right now at all for what's going on in Austin, and it's now no excuse season. At least that's what it looks like. So, you know, we said when Steve Sarkisian took over that he didn't have the temperament to deal with what would eventually happen in Austin. I don't think either one of us thought it would be here this quickly, but it is.
No. Well, and because I heard today I, several stats being thrown out, like things that Tom Herman never did, like lose three in a row, blow however many double-digit leads as often as Sarkisian has, like in Herman's entire tenure. Yeah, and the you're right. The media that was so happy to carry his water all summer is turning quickly, and I think it's the pressure cooker that they put on themselves with the SEC move and hyping up another offensive mastermind, right? And the eyes of Texas and all of it. It's just all like pressing down on them from all sides all at once, and it's unraveling, and it's glorious.
It's beautiful because now we're, as Brendan Malloy, thank you, sir, just pointed out, you know, there's all sorts of theories on how to right the ship. And I think our favorite one is that they actually need to recruit less talent to
Yep.
Austin in
Yeah.
order to compete. That the talent that they have acquired, it must be contributing some sort of false sense of entitlement in Austin. And you look around the league and you see all these teams with 2 stars and 3 stars across their roster playing better football. Well, maybe we just need to mirror that. To which I say, yes, that would be great. Go for it. Give it a
Please,
shot.
yes, please commit to that strategy wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It
And
reminds me of, I'm like, man, they have already hit the year 4 of Coach Fran or Mike Sherman stage of grief, right?
you guys are getting my there's a mosquito in my
Uh,
kitchen video.
oh man. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
this is the rationale I've seen many times from Aggies uh, when you were getting your head kicked in recruiting, right? That
yes.
well, let's just go for more 3 stars that want to be here, right? And we'll coach them up.
That love the University of Texas, that love putting
Yeah.
on that burnt orange jersey, and will run through a brick wall for the eyes of Texas. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's an interesting time down there. One that I think we're reveling in a little bit. And you know what? That would have been a big enough story. It would have been. And I we joked big time that the Texas fan, the average Texas fan, or somewhere around lunch on Tuesday, was starting to come to a realization, a level of self awareness that we're not typically seeing from that fan base. And they're
Hmm.
starting to piece some things together because they're starting to question talent. Do we actually have as much talent as these recruiting rankings say we do? Which, almost got them to the right place. But then something happened. Something happened. Okay, that
Yes.
just absolutely destroyed any momentum they had towards that self awareness. And some news broke, and
Well, yeah.
in fact,
News.
we got the news. We got the news a little earlier than everybody else because we do have a little backdoor connection with the
Yes.
source.
Yeah.
So we got this information. I would say
At a
about two
GM.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
about 2 minutes before he couldn't contain it any longer.
No. He kind of posted it on TexAgs, and then and then we got a little DM, and then it was like, you know what? Boom. This is going out. It's getting tweeted. And it was so funny because, look, and despite the DM, and we vaguely know the guy, right? I mean, but trust him. I'm
Yeah,
like, you know, uh, I was like, but it still seems so unbelievable. So essentially, what he tweets out is that, hey, I've got a source that tells me that, well, gosh, we have to back up. We can't even start telling this story because it won't make any sense. I forgot. I forgot.
reset. You got to
We have
reset.
to reset.
Okay, you
So,
reset while I enjoy my
all right.
here we are, my York peppermint patty and my almond milk in a Tinkerbell cup. Okay, because you're having victory scotch. Well, we didn't play, so I'm
No,
doing
it's
almond
it's
milk
oh,
in a kid's
Four
cup
Roses
tonight.
single barrel.
There
Anyway,
you
I'm
go.
channeling my inner
Reset.
Jeff Banks. So, some of you may remember the name Jeff Banks, special teams coach at A&M several years ago under Kevin Sumlin. Was the interim head coach for A&M after Sumlin was fired. He was our interim head coach for the bowl game. In fact, I think Jimbo tried to retain him on his staff, but he decided to leave for Alabama. When he left for Alabama, he took with him his live-in girlfriend, who he left his wife and children for, who is an exotic dancer who goes by the name Pole Assassin and has performed on the Jerry Springer show. I'm not making any of this up. This is all 100% true. Uh, Not
The
only
man
that,
tells no lies. This is
no
all
lies
true.
at all, which is going to come back later. It's very important. His
It
live-in
is.
stripper girlfriend who goes by Pole Assassin and has performed on Jerry Springer and whose act includes a trained capuchin monkey,
Oh,
not
what?
a monkey. She performs with the monkey, okay? He left his wife and children.
What kind of monkey? What kind of monkey?
A capuchin.
Did you say?
As some people have said,
I just love it.
capuchin.
I love it. I just wanted you to say it again.
Okay. Turns out it
Perfect.
is the monkey shine monkey. Anyway.
Star of the show, baby.
That's the only thing
Named?
the zoo's ever told me. Named
Yeah.
Gia.
Yes. Capuchin
Gia
monkey.
has her own Instagram account and all of that. So he goes off to Alabama, takes the pole assassin and her monkey with him. Has a nice little run there. He's good at recruiting. That's his value. Because, as we saw
Very
last
good
week,
at recruiting, and that's important.
yes,
Okay.
because he
very
makes
important.
$1 million to be the special teams coordinator at Texas, highest paid, double the second highest paid special teams coordinator in the
Yes.
entire country.
2x.
To run RPO fake punts with your punter on 4th
Right.
and 13 that get blown up. Against Baylor. Anyway,
And
So-
Jeff Banks thought that was the worst thing that was going to happen to him this week. Was that call right there?
so anyway, Sark brings him from Alabama on his staff. He's got Texas recruiting connections, whatever. That's essentially his job, is to be their recruiting. Some might say,
Guru.
yeah, let's just leave it at guru for now. Anyway, and the pole assassin and Gia came with him. They live in Austin now with Jeff Banks. And I don't know if you remember, but Sunday was Halloween. And the pole assassin decided to put together a little haunted house for the neighborhood. And apparently, all right, so now we're caught up, and our friend G. Thomas Campbell on Twitter said he's got a source that they had the haunted house, and the monkey bit a kid, and that the monkey's jaws had to be pried off of the kid. Those are the only 3 facts that he really tweeted, but whatever. And it sounded insane, because you thought the Jeff Banks pole assassin story couldn't get more insane. And this just seems crazy, but whatever. I'll retweet it because it's Twitter. Who cares, right?
Well, hang on, because I want to make a point here. All right, because you're right. Jeff Banks, pole assassin, left the family for a stripper. All of that sounds ludicrous, but those are facts that have been known for a long time in college football.
Months,
And
yes.
I think anybody who kind of brings them up and is like, "Oh my God, did you know this happened?" is typically kind of met with crickets. Okay, because
okay.
look, this is SEC. This is SEC country, right? Like A&M, Alabama. There's some crazy stuff out there. We got Florida man every weekend. There's a lot. So people kind of look at you funny. So the story kind of
Sometimes you
slides
gotta crack
off
a
into
few
the
eggs.
sunset. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the attitude. The SEC, there's okay, I don't know. Guy can recruit,
But-
I mean,
But then along comes the monkey bit a kid on Halloween, and every Aggie, okay, jumped on this like you wouldn't believe, and then the rest of the college football world jumped all over it in the middle of a very boring sports night, and it's like it went to a 3-alarm fire in about 10 seconds. And it was incredible to watch.
yes, but let's point out that the rest of the college football world met the story with a healthy amount of skepticism very early on,
as they should have.
as they should have, because it sounds insane. And in fact, the pole assassin herself took to Twitter to defend herself, and immediately called out this person for spreading lies. And definitively lies. So
These
this
are
is
lies. That's the quote.
That's lies. And then she immediately confirmed every material fact in the original tweet.
Yes. Immediately.
Yeah, because this is all lies. Nobody was viciously bit. This isn't adverb that she insisted on throwing out many times, even though it was never part of the original story, right? No one claimed it was a vicious bite or anything. So the lie is that it wasn't a vicious bite and it's the kid's fault. This is essentially her defense. Is that the kid was somewhere they weren't supposed to be. Now, other people have challenged that, say, oh, I know someone that knows someone that was there and the kids were doing this and Jeff Banks's kids were taking the kids back there to high five the monkey, whatever. It doesn't matter. I unconfirmed. She has confirmed all of the material facts of the story. Her monkey bit a kid on Halloween. 100% true.
It happened.
It
It happened, and it's made its way to every college football writer. Even the Dan Wilkins of the world managed to crack a smile and lob a few grenades
Yeah.
towards what's happening in Austin. And I just can't imagine.
Oh,
You just come off of a third straight loss, another big lead blown. You got Iowa State coming up. You're trying to hold all this together. You think you had some kind of recruiting momentum. You're trying to put that back together, and then your lead recruiter, perhaps, well, your lead recruiter probably had to go home early to get
well,
to get all of that pulled off of the interwebs, which is exactly what happened. Okay, I'm
yeah, I
sure
have
all
to
of a
say.
sudden,
So my second favorite tweet of the night was from one of our followers, Texas Bug, who pointed out at about 10:30 last night. Well, we know what time Jeff Banks gets home because that's the time that
yeah,
all of those tweets disappeared completely. Her
yes,
account has been deleted. Fortunately, the internet's forever, and there are screenshots and downloads of the video. We forgot to mention that she posted a video walking everyone through the gates that had to be gone through for the kid to get back to where the monkey was that the kid was supposedly not supposed to have done, including look a sign. Look at this sign. It doesn't at all look like it was made 30 minutes ago that says "Do not enter. Don't touch the emotional support monkey."
yes, and was conveniently placed at a height for where only 6 foot tall 11-year-olds could read it. So yeah, it was very
Uh,
entertaining. Everybody, I think, thoroughly enjoyed their Tuesday night. It was tough to put the phone down and actually get some sleep because I was laughing too hard.
yeah.
And man, it's always good to laugh a little bit, especially at your rival's expense when stripper monkeys bite children at parties. Those sorts of headlines only come along once in a while. So hey, good luck out there, Sark. Um, no, actually, I don't. I don't wish you any luck
No,
uh, at all.
no.
Iowa State fans, don't let us down.
Go nuts. Don't let us down. The entire college
Yeah,
football world is waiting for you this weekend.
that's right.
Um,
Yes.
and your team that is favored over the Longhorns, favored to make it four straight. Man,
Let's make it four straight. And
let's
let's
make
do it
it
in
four.
style.
Do it.
All right. So that is a great transition, Casey, to the fact that we do have a football game this weekend. The Aggies are going to play the Auburn Tigers at Kyle Field at 2:30 on CBS. Um, the number 13 and number 14 ranked team in the college football playoff rankings are going to tee it up, and this is an interesting game for us, man. I won't give you a hint at where I think this is going quite yet because I want to hear your thoughts. Auburn's coming off a big win against Ole Miss, um, a game they seem to control for a significant portion of the game. Although I do think momentum did turn with Matt Corral going out of the game for a couple of series. He did come back in, but by that point, it felt like Auburn had seized control of the game and wasn't going to let go. Um, Look, Auburn can run the football. They got a pretty damn good defense, and they have a quarterback who's playing well enough that it's going to take a big effort to win the game. But it's an effort that A&M's capable of putting out there. What do you expect to happen on Saturday afternoon and evening?
Yeah, I expect it to be a very close game, a very frustrating game. I don't know. I've got that queasy feeling that at the pit of my stomach, right? You know, it, I think we'll win it. I'll just say that, I guess. But we said after what South Carolina, right? I thought you made a really great point after we were saying, look, you know, we've got gripes after these two big wins against Missouri and South Carolina, and we don't feel like we're being overly negative, but we're just sitting here saying, okay, this team still got flaws. It's not always going to be the team that beat Alabama, and so we feel justified in pointing out those flaws and saying, look, this team isn't going to run the table playing like that. And you said to the people who kind of get honest for being negative, okay, fine, but I don't want to hear it after Auburn or Ole Miss if Zach Calzada doesn't have a great game and we lose.
Yeah.
And so that's really the point I think we want to make, is that this is a very losable game. We haven't got an effort out of Zach Calzada that makes you say, okay, we are going to be solid and consistent going forward. And so, it's a game that makes you nervous.
Right. And I think the winner of this football game is the team whose quarterback plays the best.
Yep.
And I think both of these teams have gotten better as the season has gone on. I think A&M, you could hear some of the players once the bye week was here expressing the need for the bye week, because it was a team that was grinding, really, really grinding it out and trying to get better and improve. And that takes a toll, right? Because you're trying to get guys back, get healthy, get continuity, and get better. And Jimbo Fisher's teams, this is what they do. He knows how to do this. So you could tell they were just really working really hard. They had played 8 straight weeks, and they needed a break. I loved hearing what I heard from Coach about how the bye week went and how the practices have been since the team came back. He made a specific point of saying, I think my guys understand how to practice and how to prepare on a whole nother level when they did come back. And so you got a football team that's getting healthy, getting some continuity, had a nice break, and then had an opportunity to get better. All of those things add up to what we've been saying all season. Our minds never changed around where this football team would be in November versus where they were in September. And I still expect them to play their best football this month, the entire season, even Alabama included. Because I saw something happen in especially South Carolina, whereas like everything was feeding off of each other and playing very, very well and extremely physical and extremely fast. That's a football team that's getting very comfortable about being in the right spot and working together, and therefore they just start playing faster and more aggressive.
Yes. Yeah.
But here's the deal. That's Auburn too. If you watch them, they're well coached, and so it is kind of a collision of two teams on that trajectory. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Zach Calzada and Bo Nix. Bo Nix historically plays terrible on the road. He's not the same quarterback on the road.
Except in
12 man. Yeah, I mean he had a decent enough game. I wouldn't, the last time he was there. But man, Zach's got to play better. He's got to play great. He actually has to. I think he has to play great.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Zach's either going to play great or he's going to play bad. And I
wouldn't go that far.
Auburn, against an Auburn defense.
I understand.
Okay, right? Yeah, like you can be a bus driver against Missouri and even against South Carolina, and be fine. I think it's going to go one way or the other for these guys. So
Yeah, I think you need, you need close to an Alabama performance out of Zach. Now, the bright side is I think we've seen over the last 2 weeks an offensive line really come into their own, play even better than they
yeah,
played against Alabama. And like you said, with the bye week, learning how to practice, those are all great signs. I would hope and expect them to play their best game this weekend, and that's a big deal. I think there was a comment on something you said on Twitter about, oh, was it Zach? And oh, he was doing a lot of double clutching early, double and triple clutching, and someone trying to say that's all O line driven, and a lot of it was O line driven until the O line started playing better, and now it's not. Now it's all Zach. Um,
yes,
now the the bad plays are less bad because the O line is way better, and the good plays are better because the O line is playing very well. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely,
right.
O line play is raising Zach's ceiling, but even with a clean pocket, Zach is clutching that ball too many times, trying to reset his feet way too many times. Uh, Even against South Carolina, if you watch Stephen McGee's film breakdowns every week, it's still there every week. Um, he's getting better, but I didn't notice it nearly as much against Alabama. Um, and so we need more of that.
Yeah, and yeah, that goes back to the way that the game plan unfolded against Alabama, the way that they put a bunch of guys in motion to signal to him uh, what the defense was going to be running. Is it zone? Is it man? Who's dropping? Who's not? And get your first read or kind of get out of there. Now, there was a couple times where he was able to go through his progressions. We talked about this before. Some of the biggest plays in the game actually were pretty bad reads, but it worked out.
Mm,
And
yeah.
if you go back and look at the tape, that's not really how the offense needed to be run. I don't know. We'll see. 2 more weeks of practice, 2 more weeks of being the guy, 2 more weeks of healthy wide receivers, and offensive line that is healthy, and as far as we know, out there practicing every day. So
Hmm.
hopefully he continues on a trajectory and takes another step. Because if he does, then we could be looking at a pretty tremendous finish to not just this weekend, not just next weekend, but the rest of the season. So I hope he does. We're obviously all pulling for him and the rest of the football team. Well, that's our Auburn pre. Although, well, hang on, I didn't say what I thought was going to happen. I will give you a prediction in the game. I do think A&M will win the game. I think it's going to end up being something like a 24-20 type score, maybe 27-20.
Hmm.
We're not going to be pitching a shutout for 3 quarters. We're going to give up some points and give up some yards to that kind of offense. They're big, they're physical, they're talented, but I do think the difference in the game might be a huge turnover deep in Auburn territory. Could be
Yeah.
a punt return. There's going to be something that propels the team to victory. Where the two teams are pretty evenly matched, and something's going to break like that. That's the difference. So
I think you're right.
we
Yeah,
shall
we
see.
haven't spent much time talking about the defense, and the defense. I know South Carolina was bad, and they got that grad transfer or grad assistant quarterback, but they were tearing people's heads off. South Carolina's got a big, meaty offensive line, and man, Tyree Johnson, who went out kind of hurt, supposedly is going to be back. He's practicing, and like you said, they are starting to play a lot faster. The pressure's starting to get home more, and
Right.
I think we'll get a big game out of them. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
So, hey, somebody did comment, hey, if Aceh and Spiller go over 200 yards, then that helps out Zach. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think this is a game where you go over 200 yards. I think this is one of those games where, one of these guys has 60, the other got 70. They're grinding it out.
Mm,
Um, and Auburn's probably doing the exact same thing.
yeah.
Hey, they're not tearing us up. hey, we're gonna get a 5 yard loss, and then we're gonna give up a 7 yard run, and it's gonna be a lot of just dude. It's metal on metal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this is, and it's shaping up like a classic SEC football game, and
Hmm.
I can't wait for that,
Yeah.
man. Because here's the deal: our coach is so good in that type of game. He's so good in managing that kind of game and winning them. And I don't know, man. I've just gotten to a point, even North Carolina last year was one of those games where we weren't winning for a significant portion of that game, and I didn't care because it never felt like
Yeah.
we were out of it. And eventually, we were going to grind those dudes down, and we would take the
Yeah.
football game from them. And this just kind of has that feel to me.
I think
It
you're
does.
absolutely right. I think a Chain and Spiller maybe this guy means combined for 200. I'm assuming.
He does. He
And
does. Yeah.
yeah, I think you might see that break late. I think this is a big, big Spiller game. We're going to need his ability to make 3 yards out of nothing, and this is sets up prime time for that kind of thing. I think we'll get it from him. Like you said, the bye week came at a good time. Spiller, as much as I love him, he's a workhorse, but he does tend to kind of get nicked here and there the more games in a
Right.
row we play, right? So I think this is a good time for him to get healthy and come back a little bit fresh, and hopefully has a big game because we're going to need it.
Gonna need it. We need to get down there, dude. We need to figure out a way to get to that football game. Don't look at me like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. We'll
The
make this
kids,
happen.
man. I got kids.
Yeah, kids. Well,
Important.
maybe somebody will drive all the way up here and watch them for you.
Maybe
We'll
their
see.
next dad will go to their soccer games, I don't know. I mean,
Wow. Wow. All right.
yeah.
And on that note, I think we've talked enough. We've talked enough, man. Week 1, college football rankings. We hit Monkey Gate. We got
Hmm.
Texas getting their horns sawed off by the green and gold in their
By the pole assassin.
sawed off shirts. Yeah, yeah,
By the pole
and yeah.
saw.
Everybody, enjoy the hell out of college football this week. It's been glorious so far. It's only Tuesday, and we'll be back. The Meltdown Ags. Follow us on Twitter. You get all of our hot sports opinions and ridiculous takes. And happy football.